IBM is launching a new mainframe today. It believes that this new system will be a breakthrough in how companies think about data encryption and are able to protect themselves from cyber threats. Joining us right now for more is Caleb Barlow. He's Vice President of Cybersecurity at IBM. And Caleb, thanks for coming in today.
Thanks, Becky. How are you today?
I'm good. Look, I know that cybersecurity is a problem. It seems like we're hearing new headlines every day, but I didn't realize how bad the numbers were until I started looking through some of this research. How bad is it?
Absolutely. You know, if we look at, for example, 2015 alone, 300 million records lost. And, you know, most of which were Americans and most of which were their healthcare records. Now, think about that for a second. You know, we start losing this kind of immutable data. That data is out there forever. Things like our social security numbers, our mother's maiden names. Those things can't be easily fixed, like, for example, your credit card. So what we did with the new IBM Z is we added the ability to do encryption at line speed. So this is a 400% increase in silicon dedicated to encryption. So this is actually one of the chips right here. And what this has on it, this little thing is about the size of a postage stamp. You know, it's got 14.4 miles of wire on that.
What?
6.1 billion transistors. Now, think about what you can do with that. So this entire mainframe can process 12 billion transactions a day. Now, to put that in context, right? Let's say Cyber Monday is an example, right? Probably about 30 million transactions processed globally on Cyber Monday. One of these machines can process 12 billion transactions a day.
So the problem is that all of these transactions that we're doing on a daily basis, most of them aren't encrypted at all because it's just too complicated?
Yeah, that's right. In fact, only about 4% of transactions are actually encrypted. And the primary reason for that is it's not only is the math complicated, but the processing time is just too expensive on traditional x86 hardware. So what this allows us to do, imagine you're a bank or a travel company, you can process everything you see and encrypt it all at speed without any performance degradation.
And that just means they have to use, a lot of these companies are already on IBM servers, they just need to update to the new server?
That's correct, absolutely. So, you know, about 87% of all credit card transactions today occur on an IBM mainframe.
You talk about the healthcare records, and that's a huge issue. I know Americans are concerned about that. But I look at it and I think probably a lot of the transactions that are taking place, for me at least, are happening in a small doctor's office. They're not going to have one of these servers sitting around.
Well, they may not, but where does that healthcare record go? It goes up to the insurance company, right? It goes through various levels of processing. And the challenge, of course, is that the bad guys get access to that data. Then they've got access to, in many cases, hundreds of millions of records. What this allows us to do is if the bad guys get access to that data, it's gibberish that they can't read, they can't process, and it's useless. And at the end of the day, this is about changing the economics for the bad guys. Because you see, they're all entrepreneurs. This is a $445 billion industry every year. Okay? So if I make it harder for you to break into a system, you're going to go spend your time somewhere else.
How much does a new server cost?
Well,
and how much does an old one cost?
Well, these things cost around $500,000, right? And at least that to get started, right? And of course, they go up or down depending on the number of transactions that a company might run and their unique configuration. They're about the size of a large safe. They're probably about 6, 7 feet tall. They contain about 24 of these chips. And, you know, there's obviously a lot of cooling and
24
storage.
of those.
24 of these little things, right? Can process. I mean, again, look at how small this is.
It doesn't seem like it would have to be that big. Now, is it just come in that tan color, these servers, or is it, can you get it in a gray?
They're more gray. They're pretty small.
Just one color.
Yeah, I think they're one color. I mean, there's not a lot of demand for fancy colors on a mainframe.
Fine. All right. I've always asked that question.
You want what color do you want it in, Joe?
I just would like some selection.
Maybe like a yellow or
what
red.
I was actually getting to, when you talk about, I mean, just the numbers you threw around, they're just words, and I don't think we really understand what 12 billion really means on something that size. And then I come back to machine learning, and you give it some time, 5, 10, 15, 20 years, I'm starting to wonder when you have that type of computing power, when you actually have computers doing things that we can't really fathom, that we won't be involved with thinking up this new stuff. The computers that we originally made will actually be designing things that we have no conception of. And it's not that far off, is it?
It's not. And the thing we have to keep in mind is as more and more data moves to the cloud, what's going to power that cloud? what's going to ensure that everything we put in that cloud is inside a safe that the bad guys can't get access to?
Gray-colored servers will power.
Gray-colored servers are going to solve that problem.
Sounds boring.
Exactly. With 14.4
Would it kill you to
miles of
make
wire.
a tan one?
I think we might be able to. We'll take a look at that. Maybe we can paint one for you, Joe.
Paint it blue.
Teal.
Teal.
Blue's my favorite.
We like blue. We're particularly. I think it's got a blue stripe.
Blue,
Right,
blue's a
right.
good color, yeah. It's nice. Paint.
If you were
wanna paint
IBM, I mean, who
mainframe?
said make them gray when you were IBM when you could have made them blue? I mean, didn't that occur to anyone?
It's like a
Maybe we
slate
should
gray,
make
though.
these
It's a nice colored gray. It's not like a
muted gray. It's a good feeling
well, it's
gray.
like a slate. We
It
saw the
is, but
picture.
you know what else
Yeah.
is pretty interesting? When you open this thing up, so inside are all the electronics and everything else. And of course, one of the things we're also worried about are things like insider threats. If you reach in this and start to touch any of the cryptographic processors,
You get electrocuted.
You don't get electrocuted.
Okay.
What it does is it bricks the server. It literally throws out the keys
It does.
and makes the thing useless.
Oh,
so you
so
have to
you
go
can't-
back and
Wow,
re-get the
that's
keys.
really interesting. So nobody can hack
it's like
into
booby
it. from
traps.
You
an inside-
cannot
inside
get
operator.
if you physically try to get into this like an insider threat. This thing will toss its keys and basically becomes a giant brick until
Wow.
someone
Oh,
goes.
you
and
should hurt the
researches
person
it.
doing it, though, too.
So
You should.
that's something like you guys have run into problems where people on the inside have tried to hack things.
Well,
without
you know,
putting
our
any
job isn't so
security
much to
features?
think about the problems we see today, but what are the problems we may see in the future, and make
really
sure we can
interesting.
prevent all of those things.
Well,
That's
Caleb,
cool.
thank you for coming in and sharing this with us today. We appreciate
Thanks.
it.
Thank you.